We're going to start tonight with the conversation between Mārama and David Seymour this morning. They talked a fair bit about the IPCA, the report. We're not going to do those questions now because we're going to do that with Tamitha and TVNZ. There was questions around this government selecting Costa for... It's interesting. I do ask Tamitha about this because she was in the House today knocking it out of the ballpark. There doesn't seem to be any finger pointing at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any, like National going, well, they came in under you, Labour, and Labour going, well, it's happened under you, National. So it feels quite mature, either that there's lots of blame to go around or that they're choosing not to be so tribal on this. You would hope they would, and it's a pretty revolting thing. And it seems to be accepted that the ministers didn't know and the senior police actively kept it from them. So actually... it seems that the buck is stopping with the police, the senior police officers, as opposed to going to the minister or going to government. So that's something. So we're not going to cover that off quite from these guys, but we are going to talk about asset sales because the conversation is asked of Marama from Ryan about the idea of selling some state-owned assets.
Marama, asset sales. Are there, and I know what you're going to say, don't sell those assets.
Then why ask the question? Like, this is a really important radio thing. If you know the answer to the question, surely you've got another question you can ask that you don't have the answer to. Just a little point there.
But are there some that actually, we could probably do without? I mean, do we need to own TVNZ? Do we need to own farms? You guys don't even like farms. Why do we need to own one?
So it's public services, Ryan. This government, its plan from the very start has been to defund public services for our communities to the point of failure, to justify flogging them off. So overseas, offshore, private investors can make a quick buck. And what we know is that ends up bad for our people. Public assets and services need to be held in the hands of the people of New Zealand. We've seen from the partial privatisation of energy companies, for example.
Yeah.
Your viewers at home, Ryan, are watching their power bills fly through the roof, while the gentailers are making massive, massive profits. Hold on to our public assets and our services. Absolutely.
Even if so it's really important, and we don't need to pick up this because all of you, I think, smarter than Ryan Bridge. But if it's a service and it's a public service, profit making is not the narrative. We don't go, we're going to get rid of those libraries because they cost too much money. Public services don't need to, probably shouldn't, make profit. Because if public services make profit, then at some stage there's going to be the possibility of putting the money before the service. TVNZ should be a public service. We cannot have a country without a public broadcaster. Now, there's sort of a partial public broadcaster in New Zealand where the government gives them money and they return the government a dividend. And up until very recently, like in the last 10 years, TVNZ would always return more to the government in a dividend than they would receive as in a grant. So it's this weird middle ground. I think they should go to a full BBC model. And TV1 should have no adverts. It should be just a pure public broadcaster. And then you've got RNZ as well. There's not a country, certainly a first world country in the world, that doesn't have a public broadcaster. So yes, we do need to own TVNZ, Ryan, because it's our public broadcaster and it's a service. And even though we've got this strange mixed model with advertising, in general, services that provide services to the public that are paid for by the government should not have a focus on being profitable. End of story. Anything true before we keep going?
No, let's see Ryan Bridge drunkenly stumble through this entire interview with smarter people. And
massive profit
as well.
Smarter person. Is that what you mean? Smarter person.
The one person, yes. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Hold on to our public assets and our services. Absolutely.
Even if they're making losses, like even if you're not getting a dividend from them, even if,
like libraries. Yes, we want to keep our libraries making a loss.
They're worth less. Then do we, and they're not making money, then do we still hold on to them?
Yes. Their services.
So decades and decades of underinvestment into our public services. The priority is to deliver quality services. But yes, we have seen successive governments fail to invest properly to deliver the care to communities and people that New Zealanders absolutely deserve. There has to be proper investment into them.
So, number one. We'll fly straight into number two unless you've got anything on edge. I know you can add something because I kind of cut you off. Thoughts? I mean, this is just this. We don't run the country like a business. This is the whole thing. Things make losses. Services make losses if they're public services. End of conversation.
Ryan Bridge is, look, I know we all have opinions on Ryan Bridge, but this is extremely dismissive even for him. Like, he doesn't understand how society functions. Like, this is what we were talking about the other. Remember that Dutch article I brought up where they talked about the, what did they call it? The social profit of something rather than the economic profit. The benefits to society for various things. And this is kind of what we've missed out on when you're talking about, like, the, for lack of a better example, a BBC way of doing stuff. There is a cultural payoff to your society. You can decide that this is the image of New Zealand that you want to portray to your society, the things that you want to hold up. You know, your example of a library will never make money, but the payoff to society is obvious to all. And you can extend that out to so many other things, like public transport. You know, like free dental, as an example, because we know that if you've got shitty bad teeth, then you'll end up with fucking heart disease or something in later life. It's just, you know, schools famously don't make any money, but we all agree it's a good fucking idea.
Yeah.
We look at countries that have made hospitals profit making, and their countries are a fucking hellscape. So, Ryan, can you not understand that? Does everything have to make money in your world? It's gross. It's
also just, and I actually don't necessarily want to beat up on Ryan. It's actually just not smart either, because obviously, if it's a public service, you know, we don't make profits. We don't toll our footpaths. We pay for our footpaths and people walk on them at costs. There's not a profit-making model. So why is it any different with other things that are a service? You know, it's like not everything has to make a profit. Maybe they want to toll our footpaths. Maybe that's how they'll find that shortfall from landlords. All right, we'll go on to the next.
Just as far as how Ryan's been speaking, you know, the pre-answering of the question and the comment of, like, you guys don't even like farms.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Cutting her off and going away from it. He clearly doesn't like the Greens, and is just being a real shitbird to Marama.
There's something that's happened with Ryan Bridge in the last few weeks, and it's like he's trying to be more jovial, like. Probably tomorrow he'll start talking about your favorite apples or something like that. He's trying to be more jovial, and he's trying to take the piss and have a bit of a joke, but it just doesn't work. Like, oh, you guys don't even like farms. And if you're making David Seymour laugh, if David Seymour's laughing at your joke, bruv, you have missed the mark. This one's a bit of a strange little one to share with you because it's going to come in two parts. Because he asked a question about Winston Peters saying the economy was taking too long to change. And David Seymour goes into 1 minute and 5 second answer about a previous question that he wanted to revisit. And then he answers the question about Winston Peters. So let me play you the question first, and then we'll skip forward to him actually answering it.
Absolutely.
David, do you have a response to your friend and colleague Winston Peters, who says two things? One, don't sell the assets, it's a dumb idea, but also that your government isn't turning the economy around quick enough?
So that's the question. And we're just going to jump forward to the answer because he does start talking about pontificating about a previous. I think he thinks that Marama got too much of a say, so he wanted to go over something else. And then after 1 minute and 5 seconds, he answers the question about Winston.
Question about, you know, Winston. I mean, it's just Winston being Winston. About 2 months ago, I heard him say that, you know, he was the one who knew the economy wouldn't turn around straight away, and he warned us all that wouldn't happen. A couple of months later, he's saying, oh, it hasn't happened fast enough. So, you know, that's Winston.
Is he just making stuff up?
Yes.
Well, I don't think he's making it up.
He
He's
could be making it up and still be right, though.
sharing his views, as some people know and love him for doing. Other people would say, well, okay, but where do we actually fix what matters?
Is
How
he
do we
right,
problem
though?
solve
Is he right
and,
when he
and get
says,
through these issues?
Is he right when he says you're not turning the economy around fast enough?
Yes.
Well, there's going to be people out there who are saying, look, my bills are high, there's my
Yeah,
power bill,
what are you
grocery
saying?
bill, when
Is
do
he
we
right
get the
or
relief?
not?
So people will have that view. Well, I can accept that view is out there, of course. But on the other hand, the government is managing its own spending very carefully.
All right.
We've pulled
Mārama.
down inflation. That's pulling
No,
down
good.
interest rates. All of those things are
Good.
happening, but there are no shortcuts.
That's I'm sure you all picked up on it. The slimy way he answered that. I appreciate that view is out there. Yeah, but is he right? Well, some people will have that view. So Seymour would not answer the question. Let's make this clear. Is Winston Peters correct that you guys are not turning around this economy fast enough? That question was not answered, even though, credit where credit's due, Ryan asked that question 2 or 3 times. Is he right? Is he right? Didn't answer that question. Anything, Chewie?
Fit David Seymour with a shock collar, and that should fix it.
Have we just found our debate angle next year?
Yes,
Shock
a cattle
collars.
prod. Yeah.
Ooh, you know what you can get? You can get those, are they called TENS machines? And you use them and you put them on your muscles and it can allow a guy to feel like what it feels like to go through contractions.
Now we're cooking with gas, Pat.
We just found our angle. Okay. We'll keep working on it. Conversation goes on. It's only 60 seconds, but they do have a conversation here, a chat about what I think Ryan is calling the TPM implosion. Have a listen.
No shortcuts.
Marama, what's with Te Pāti Māori? Obviously, a bit of an implosion happening there, to say the least. What is your...
I see another laugh. See what I'm saying? Something's changed. I used the word implosion.
pitch to Māori voters for Te Pāti Green, for the Green Party?
Focused on my colleagues and my Green Party MPs continuing to do our mahi every single day, focus on getting rid of the most anti-tiriti, anti-Māori government that we have ever seen, and that continues. I want to acknowledge that, Te Ao Māori people and communities out there are feeling some pōti, some sadness about what is happening. And look, that all I can do, Ryan, is concentrate on what my team are doing and fighting hard every single day to reduce the cost of living for people, to protect Papatuanuku, our environment, and focus on getting rid of this government.
Yeah, great answer. Great answer. Back onto the own messaging, and someone's picked it up in the chat as well. Ryan going, Te Pāti Green and Kakariki. If you're going to go Te Pāti, you got to go Kakariki or else. Doesn't make much sense. I've got one more bit to play, Chewie, which is kind of a bit of a critique of the critiquers. It's us talking about actual how this media is working. So to do with the subject matter so far, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, let's move on to that.
So here's one other thing for you. And it's kind of, most of you will find this kind of amusing, but obviously Ryan Bridge is going to be a bit of a cheeky fella again. You can see the smiles already there about David Seymour having long-winded answers. Now, have a listen to what he says, and then I want to talk about this example shows you why these guys don't know how to do this thing that they're trying to do. Make no mistake, the Herald has tried to take our model and do it for themselves, and why it will not work for them can be summed up in this conversation they're going to have.
Very good. You give very long answers, David. I only say this because...
It's because getting into solving problems is actually important, and I believe that the New Zealand public are ready for it. They're sometimes talked down to and dumbed down by some of the style of politics.
I'm getting another long answer.
We know the problems need to be solved.
David, I understand you. I appreciate you both this morning. Thank you.
So, a couple of things, right? The reason, one of the benefits of doing this online thing is it doesn't matter if you have long answers, because you don't have to slam into the ad break at 8:28 to be out by the 8:30 news. You don't have to cut people off, and it seems obvious to me that the people running that Herald Now are the people who run Newstalk ZB. It's not going to work to find an audience online, long-term, big, successful, yada, yada. They probably are bigger than us. I mean, they should be. They've got 200,000 followers on their YouTube channel. But this is this constant debate I have with people in advertising. They are doing radio on the internet.
Yeah.
Right? They're not doing podcasting or they're not doing live streaming. They're doing radio on the internet. Because even though he was basically trying to be a bit cheeky and tell David he's long-winded, the summation of what he was saying is like, can you please get your answers quicker and snappier? This is how media works. It's not how this media works. It's not how live streaming, independent podcasting works. It's not. And if they don't figure that out, then this is not going to work. And just remember, we told you why Today FM wasn't going to work, and Today FM shut down because it didn't work. I'm telling you, if these guys don't figure out how to make this more the appearance of independent media broadcasting, it's not going to work. Long term, it's not going to work. Chewie.
Yeah, it's because Ryan Bridge is not up to snuff when it comes to interviewing. He's not. He is a puppet. Like, somebody else is operating him through his earpiece, or the brainworm that inhabits the hair gel filled cavity in his head. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, you can go, okay, look, you spoke for a minute and a half there, David, and we didn't even get close to an answer. Do you want to speak to me like a human? Like, you can roast these guys.
Yeah.
We would love the opportunities that you have. Don't waste it.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I don't want this to come off like we're bitching and moaning about not getting access. I never, ever, 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 ever feel entitled to somebody's time. Never have, never will. People are allowed to say no. People are allowed to not come on. But for those of you who have access, for you journalists and stuff who do have access, you have a responsibility to be asking the correct questions and to be pushing hard. The problem is those people who have access want to keep access. And if you approach these interviews making sure that you want the guest to come back again, then innately you may avoid a topic. Independent media, hopefully, this is what we do here. We have a philosophy that basically goes, if not if you're a dick, but if asking an uncomfortable, awkward, hard question causes a guest to not want to come back, fine. No problems. We're not going to run a show that's set up so we are ensuring that the person comes back over and above the right question to ask. Not going to do it. And I think that's probably why David Seymour hasn't come back. If you weren't around when we had him on, at the end of the interview, it was a bit rushed. We explained to him why. We didn't call him racist, all right? I wouldn't do that. But we explained to him why people think he's racist. And, he hasn't spoken to us since.
And
Fine.
he loved it.
He loved it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want...
humiliation kink.
Yeah.